everyone. So for this research project, I chose to focus on color psychology and how it's able to influence consumer behavior in a marketing sense, and also how color psychology is able to explain our daily changes in mood and behavior. I've always been interested in how perception is able to affect our daily moods, so this seemed like a perfect opportunity to research a topic that I've been thinking about looking into for a while. So with that said, let's dive into this topic. So in general, color psychology is a field in psychology that tries to study how colors are able to influence an individual in their behavior, personality, or just the preferences that they develop. A major use of color psychology is in the marketing industry, where it's actually approximated that 90% of assessment of when a person chooses to buy a certain product is made on color alone. This is really fascinating because it has nothing to do with the product's quality or how many other people are using it. It's only on the visual representation of it that makes a person want to buy it. So, of course, our response to a color can vary a lot based on factors such as our daily mood, our culture that we grew up with, and even our dominant language. And while each person's reaction to a color may be individual, color psychology does try to do its best to see how certain colors are able to affect emotions and behaviors of people in general. So moving on to more specific colors, first we have the warm colors, which are obviously red, orange, and yellow in the color spectrum. So red is considered a very strong and impactful color because it's one of the most demanding colors in existence. In our minds, it's viewed as the unnatural color, along with like yellow and orange. But with this sense of unnatural occurrence, we see it as a signal to be very alert and to take notice of what is being presented in front of us. So in a sense, it actually creates this fight or flight response in us. And it's even been shown to raise blood pressure and cause dilation in the eyes, which are some of the signals that we're in a fight or flight mode. So red and yellow and orange both have all have relatively low wavelengths, which again makes us very alert of what's in front of us and take notice of what is in front of us. Another reason why it's hypothesized that red causes us to have such a focus and to be concerned with details is because in our eyes, our cone cells, which are responsible for detecting color, are split into red, blue, and green cones, and the red cones are actually located on the outside of the retina rather than the center, such as the blue and green cones, which requires more of a focus from us. So these warm colors are used in markets that require an impulsive decision. So this can be anything from the food industry to a sale or a clearance. So an interesting and sort of ironic twist is that orange is actually considered one of the most disliked colors of the human race. In a 2003 study by Joe Hollick, 26% of the people participating saw orange as inexpensive and cheap, and this is by far the largest majority in comparison to any other color. And in studies done in the past century, it was found that orange and brown, which is simply a darker shade of orange, is the least preferred color in regard of any race or gender or an age. So moving on the opposite side of the spectrum, we have blue as the world's obviously favorite color. In a 2009 study by the University of British Columbia, it was shown that blue seems to be able to boost our logical thinking and creativity, and this seems logical since blue does create this kind of soothing and calming environment. And a part of this, again, may be contributed to the fact that the blue and green cone cells are located within the center of the retina, which may not seem like a large advantage, but it actually does help in making the transfer of visual information into the hypothalamus much faster. And the calming effect of blue can be a clear reason why so many social media sites use the color blue within their logo and layout, such as Twitter and Facebook and Tumblr. Um, and in websites such as these, you're expected to sit on your computer or look at your phone continuously, and you can't switch. They want you to stay on your website, so rather than switching to another website, you're forced to continue scrolling, and since it's easy to look at, this can be one of the reasons for its success in these kind of markets. So here is just a clear representation of 10 countries with their polls of favorite colors, and blue is by far the leading favorited color within every country. So obviously culture and outside influences affect how we perceive certain colors, and this is taken into factor in color psychology. Colors can also be used to demonstrate the concept of cognitive fluidity, where we try to link what we are presented to easier topics or things that we see in the real world. This is commonly used in icons, for example, the Twitter icon. So it is this memorable sky blue, which can then be linked in our minds to the color of the sky, which can then be seen as the symbol for the outdoors or freedom. And then we can link this concept to the concept of freedom of speech, which is a major component of Twitter. Another way to look how language is able to influence color psychology is words that are able to describe colors. Actually, in a lot of Asian-based languages, before interacting with Western culture, there weren't a lot of ways to differentiate the color blue and green. There was generally one word or a set of words to describe the shades of those two colors together. Similarly, even in Western culture, with the Greek language as it transitioned from from the ancient era to the modern era, um, they were able to develop a contrast between the color blue and the color purple in their language. While initially blue could describe anything from the sky color to the color of kale and plants, to even silver. And of course, color also plays an influence into color psychology in the connotations that come with each color, which is unique to each language and culture. For example, red in Western culture can be seen as a symbol of love or excitement, but in African culture, it's actually linked to times of mourning. So that's the end of my presentation, and thank you so much for listening. I thought this was a very interesting topic, and I was glad that I was able to research it, and I hope that you were able to learn something new and interesting.